Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. The deal of the day here on Chicago Bears Now is hats. You can get them for 30% off. Go to chatsports.com/Bears hats and shop today. Lots of different styles, including this one, are available just for you. All right, let's get into today's show, starting with some rumors. This is newsy, but it kind of relates to the Bears. Cam Newton has officially signed with the New England Patriots 1 year, up to $7.5 million, and that's what makes Bears Twitter and social media and the fan base freak out a bit, because now some are wondering, is there regret that Chicago chose Nick Foles and traded for his big contract, albeit he restructured for about $8 million a year over the next 3 years, when the Patriots go bargain bin hunting and get Cam Newton for a maximum of $7.5 million over just 1 year. Look, we're not naive. Cam Newton is a better quarterback when healthy than Nick Foles. That's the issue, though. Is he healthy? Will he be healthy? Can he stay healthy if he does get healthy? He wasn't last year, couldn't be on the field for the Carolina Panthers. That's why they moved on from him. So, the Bears opted for the safe route. But you got to wonder, right? You got to wonder if that's around the price you could have gotten him for. Is there some regret there? There might end up being some, depending on how it plays out. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's video, so if you get hit with an ad break, you can answer this question right there. Should the Bears have signed Cam Newton? If you think it's yes, type Y. If you think it's no, type N. Instead, this is what the Bears are working with this year. Nick Foles, obviously, Mitchell Trubisky. That's going to be your quarterback competition right there. And obviously, Foles was the safer option, right? Doesn't have nearly the medical history, although he did have some injury problems last year. He knows the coaching staff. The coaching staff knows him. Ideally and hopefully, the RPO system can fit Nick Foles like it has in the past. And look, I think this Bears staff wants to give Mitchell Trubisky one final chance to prove that he can be the Bears franchise quarterback. If you sign Cam Newton, that's probably out the window. But Nick Foles, a guy who's comfortable being a backup, who's been a backup for a lot of his career, you can bring him in and not necessarily be punting on Mitchell Trubisky. So we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, for the Patriots, this is a very good value deal here, as they basically give up nothing for Cam Newton. Worst case scenario, he's hurt, and they're probably picking early next year anyway. But for the Bears, just got to see how it plays out with Foles and Trubisky. Could have had Cam Newton, but they opted to go in a different direction. All right, I want you guys to type sub if you're already a subscriber here on Chicago Bears Now. We're approaching 10,000 subs. I know a lot of you have already subscribed. If you have, type sub. If you haven't, not really sure what you're waiting for, it's 100% free. I think the word subscribe scares some of you guys. All it does is help you out. You hit subscribe, you turn on notifications, you never miss a video. So we encourage you to hit the big red button if you haven't. If you have, go ahead and type sub. Next story here, could Trey Robertson be a starting cornerback for the Bears? I don't think this one's very likely, but Larry Mayer, the senior writer for ChicagoBears.com, did not rule out this possibility. Says he will compete for a starting cornerback job. There's a lot of corners on this roster. Look, Kyle Fuller's the number one guy, but if you remember, when the Bears signed Trey Robertson, there were 7 or 8 teams interested in his services, and because he had one of the best seasons in CFL history last year for a corner, had 7 interceptions, 2 of those that went for touchdowns. Now, obviously, the CFL is not the NFL, but I will say this, the CFL is a pass-happy league. That is what the NFL has become in recent years. Do I think he's going to come in and necessarily be a starter? Probably not. I think Jalen Johnson is likely your starter, the second-round pick out of Utah. But bear in mind, had some injury concerns in college, and he is a rookie. Robertson, whatever you want to say about him, he's 27 years old. He's been around. He's played professional football for quite some time now, albeit not really much in the NFL. So I'll be curious to see how the CB2 competition breaks down. Fuller's your guy. Buster Screen's your nickel, but that CB2 spot, it is wide open for about 4 or 5 guys in the end. I think these are the 4 that we need to focus on for cornerback 2. Jalen Johnson, Kevin Tolliver, Trey Robertson, and Artie Burns. I think Jalen Johnson's going to get the biggest crack at it because they invested the most in him in a second-round pick. So if you think it's him, type J, type T for Tolliver, type R for Robertson, or type B for Artie Burns. Let me know who you guys think will be the cornerback 2 opposite of Kyle Fuller here in 2020. Another reminder of our deal of the day here on Chicago Bears Now. It is hats up to 30% off. Lots of different styles, like I mentioned earlier. Got the curve back, got the flat bill, got the snapback, fitted, non-fitted, lots of different styles with different logos available for you guys. Look, if you don't like the flat bills, we got other ones available for you guys. Chatsports.com/Bears hats. I really like this one. You got the orange bill there with the navy primary there with the old school logo. Lots of different ones available, up to 30% off. I'll put that link in the comments. I'll put it in the description. Chatsports.com/Bears hat. Bears hats, excuse me on that one. Allen Robinson, does he deserve a contract extension? Well, I've been saying this for about 3 months, and now all of a sudden national outlets are saying it. NFL.com put a top 10 players most deserving of an extension together. Allen Robinson made their list, and it's obvious, right? The production continues to be there for this guy, despite him having some brutal quarterback play in his career. Played with Blake Bortles in Jacksonville, still had a 1,400-yard season. Has played with Mitchell Trubisky in Chicago, still had over 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns last year. He has had some injury issues in the past, but lately he's been able to stay healthy, and he's put up big numbers. Allen Robinson is a top 10 receiver in the NFL, and I firmly believe if you put him with an established NFL quarterback, the numbers would be consistent year in and year out. Instead, he's been stuck with Bortles and Trubisky. Maybe Trubisky turns a corner here, but let's be objective. He has been a below-average quarterback, but Allen Robinson continues to put up number one receiver numbers. He has delivered despite the quarterback play being not good. By the way, Pro Football Focus put together some numbers in his career. Only 65% of passes gone his way have been deemed catchable. That is a very low number for quarterback play in the NFL these days. And look, he's your number one guy. You want to keep him in the fold long term. Anthony Miller, I think he can be a solid number two. I don't think he ever projects as a number one guy. You don't let number one receivers go, especially when they're not divas. Allen Robinson is a team guy who does a lot of work in the community and doesn't run his mouth. That has a lot of value at the wide receiver position. You look at the top 5 guys, he's not Julio, he's not Michael Thomas, he's not Tyreek Hill. Is there a big difference between him and Amari Cooper? Odell Beckham? I don't really think so. Those guys have played with better quarterbacks, especially Amari Cooper recently with Dak Prescott. So I think you could argue Allen Robinson deserves over $18 million a year because that is the floor right now for wide receiver ones once they hit the open market. He's entering the last year of his deal. I think he is deserving of a major contract extension for the Chicago Bears. So I'll set the over-under at $18 million per year for Allen Robinson. What do you think he deserves? Type O for over $18 million. Type U for under $18 million. Let me know in the comments section. Last story here, and major outlets aren't reporting this by any means, but blogs are starting to speculate, and when you hear NFL writers, what their favorite and least favorite stadiums across the NFL are, Soldier Field is not in great shape, guys, and for good reason. It's 96 years old. Could the Bears leave at some point in the near future? I could see it happening. It is by far the oldest stadium in the NFL. Sure, it is iconic. For a while, it was a landmark in the city of Chicago, but the facts are what they are. It was built in 1924. You can only renovate so many times and keep that structure in good shape. Capacity, smallest in the NFL. This is Chicago. This is not Nashville. The Bears probably need a stadium that seats more than 61,000 people week in and week out. This isn't Cincinnati. Chicago is a top 5 market with a huge fan base, not only in that city, but nationwide. It's probably due for an upgrade. I know Bears fans are very, there's some symbolism there, right? It's the city of Chicago in general, right? Same thing with Wrigley Field. What's your one-word reaction to the idea of leaving Soldier Field? Let me know, because a lot of you guys probably are upset at the idea, but at the end of the day, you got to put butts in the seats, and if you can get a nice facility with 85,000, you're going to make a lot more money as a franchise. So I bet this is going to be a realistic possibility over the next decade or so. Look at how old this stadium is. The second oldest is 33 years younger in Lambeau Field, and that field's been around forever. Arrowhead, 50 years more recent than Soldier Field. It's just by far the oldest in the NFL. Teams redo stadiums after 20 years, much less 100. It just might be time for Soldier Field. There's a reason a lot of teams don't continue to renovate because it's not cost efficient. You can build a whole new stadium for a similar cost and it be twice as good as just a simple renovation. Don't be surprised if sometime in the next decade or so, Soldier Field is gone. Arlington Heights has been the rumored location about 20 miles down the road from Chicago where they could build a state-of-the-art facility. They just built that brand new practice facility. The new football stadium could be around the corner for the Chicago Bears.